two deadly fugitives are on the run from justice. Authorities follow an electronic trail and chase the escaped convict and his partner from state to state. The suspects are moving fast, determined to avoid capture. The police and FBI must track them down before they take another life.
In Pennsylvania, an inmate escaped with the help of his female accomplice. Following a trail of fraudulent credit card receipts and death, authorities track the pair, but always find themselves one step behind. I'm Jim Kallstrom, former head of the FBI's New York office. The FBI and police race to capture the deadly couple, who seem to be running with no direction, no sense of fear, and nothing to lose.
10-7 investigation, Eddie and Bo.
September 25th, 1993. Friends of 74-year-old Guy Goodman contact the Palmyra, Pennsylvania police. They're concerned because they have not heard from him in over a week. Goodman's landlord meets an officer at his rented house.
You have a key for the door there?
I do.
Okay, let's go check it out.
Okay.
You just want to step back there?
All right.
The officer observes shards of broken porcelain on the floor and dried blood on the floor and walls. Blood spatter trails down the hall and leads to the basement stairs. In a storage room, he discovers a body. The officer calls for assistance.
Headquarters, code 3, requesting backup.
Tri-party clerical.
Unit 1833, go ahead.
Detective Paul Zeckman of the Lebanon County Detective Bureau takes the lead in the investigation.
Affirm, go ahead.
10-4, I'll be en route to that location.
The countywide bureau helps township police departments with major crime investigations.
It was evident that the house had been ransacked. The kitchen drawers were open, things were strewn around on the floor. Going down into the basement area, you could see drag marks led from the stairway to a small storage room.
The crime scene is gruesome. The victim's hands and feet are tied behind his back. Several layers of plastic bags, sheets, and blankets enshroud his head. Coverings are tightened at his neck with makeshift bindings.
These items were either duct taped or tied with electrical cords. The plastic bag was duct taped over the cloth covering.
Hoping to find a trace of the perpetrator, crime scene investigators carefully process the house. They dust every surface for latent fingerprints and collect a roll of duct tape left on a table. Likely the same tape used in the bindings. With no witnesses, only the careful examination of every item can help the detectives understand this crime.
We were trying to not only obtain the forensic evidence, but we were also trying to determine if any of the property was taken from the residence. We were able to establish that Mr. Goodman's wallet was missing.
They find American Express charge statements,
Oh,
but the card itself is missing.
statement here. The account numbers get that all figured.
In the bedroom, investigators discover an open box of checks.
A series of checks from the middle of this box had been removed. We also knew that the vehicle of Mr. Goodman was also missing at this point. What do you have to do out here yet?
Guy Goodman seemed like an unlikely target for this type of attack. Like most of the Palmyra, Pennsylvania community, Chief Michael Wayman knew of the victim.
Guy Goodman was a retired florist. He was a lifelong resident of the Palmyra area, well known within the community and liked by everyone in the community. It was apparent that either the motive for this crime was a robbery that had gone bad, or that there was a robbery after the fact, after Mr. Goodman was assaulted and died.
Palmyra, Pennsylvania is located in Lebanon County. This peaceful community sees fewer than 3 murders per year. In most cases, the victim knows the killer. At the autopsy, the victim's face is unrecognizable. The medical examiner uses dental records to confirm it is Guy Goodman. Based on the body's decomposition, he concludes Goodman has been dead for about a week. Although the victim was severely beaten, his wounds were not fatal. An examination of his respiratory tract reveals he died slowly from suffocation. Latent prints recovered from Goodman's house are processed at the lab. Examiners check the prints against local arrest records and find a match. When the forensics report arrives on Zekman's desk, he isn't surprised by the results.
Fingerprints that we had obtained at the crime scene matched Bradley Martin.
Zekman knows the name all too well.
I just entered him as a wanted person, charging him with the escape from the county prison, so I knew he was on the run.
Many of Lebanon County's inmates are part of a work release program. Bradley Martin, a repeat thief and drug user, is one of these work release prisoners. Over a week earlier, Martin used a 2-hour pass, a weekly perk of the work release program, to meet his new girlfriend, Carolyn King. 27-year-old King worked at a factory where she met the 21-year-old work release prisoner. When Martin failed to return, prison officials launched a fugitive investigation. They called the Lebanon County Detective Bureau. After obtaining a fugitive warrant for Martin, the detectives checked Carolyn King's apartment, concerned for her well-being. But King is not there, and they find nothing to indicate where she has gone, or even if she is with Martin. The detectives entered Martin in NCIC, the National Criminal Information Center. Once the murder of Guy Goodman is discovered, there is a greater urgency to find Martin than to determine if Carolyn King is unharmed. The detectives interview Martin's friends and co-workers. What they learn surprises them.
Through interviews, we were able to establish that Bradley Martin and Carolyn King were together several days after Guy Goodman was murdered. We were able to establish that they were together in the Palmyra area, and then it was just blank.
Detectives face the possibility that Carolyn King may be Martin's accomplice. Earlier, when Detective Zekman ran a statewide background check on King, she came up clean. He tries again, this time using a national database. He learns she has a long criminal history, including theft and check forgery. She has outstanding warrants for her arrest and is also a suspect in 2 murders in Virginia. The detectives have no idea where the 2 suspects are. If they left town right after the Goodman murder, they have more than a week's head start. Detectives hope to track the suspects using the American Express charge card and the checks stolen from the victim's home.
Okay, let me call the guy at the American Express Security Department.
That's great.
Detective Wayman asks American Express Global Security in New York to help. Joe Gannon, the chief investigator in Amex Security, works to assist the police.
And I'll be back to you as soon as I can. Got it. Thanks. We flagged Mr. Goodman's account because he was the victim of a homicide, and the chances were that the perpetrators of that homicide were in possession of that card.
A review of Goodman's account shows purchases made after Goodman's death. The transactions leave a trail that may lead to Goodman's killer.
We discovered that the charges began in western Pennsylvania and continued out through the Ohio Valley, down into Iowa and Kansas, and then they turned north. And the last transaction we had on record was in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Armed with a solid lead, the Pennsylvania detectives waste no time. They catch the next available flight to Rapid City, South Dakota. The killers had disappeared. But the victim's charge card had become the investigators' best informant. Police hope the trail of surfacing transactions will lead them to the murderers. Within hours, the Pennsylvania detectives arrive in Rapid City. Accompanied by local police, they visit the last stores where the charge card was used. Interviews with clerks verify their suspicions.
Up until this point, we were speculating that Bradley Martin and Carolyn King were the 2 people that were using Goodman's American Express card.
Then, investigators catch their first real break.
Some of the individuals were able to identify Bradley Martin as the user of the card. Some were able to identify Carolyn King as the user of the card.
The revelation confirms their theory.
It was no longer a whodunit. We knew for certain who had done it. Now it was a matter of changing the focus of the investigations to apprehending them.
The Pennsylvania detectives circulate photos and detailed information about the suspects to all South Dakota law enforcement agencies. The Rapid City Police Fraud Unit, or Bunko Squad, tells them of an interracial couple who've been passing bad checks at local stores.
Rapid City Police Department had a black and white bunco team who were trying to do a con game within the area. It was a black female and a white male driving a vehicle with Virginia plates. We knew that this fit the description of Carolyn King and Bradley Martin. We knew that Carolyn King had a vehicle with Virginia plates. We felt that they were there working in the Rapid City area.
Driver's license registration, please.
The Pennsylvania detectives assist as Rapid City police pull over the couple in the car with Virginia plates. They confirm the couple is the team Rapid City detectives have been hunting, but not the suspected killers.
The black female and the white male were in fact not Martin and King. They were just simply another couple that matched the description and who were doing their own criminal activities.
American Express informs the detectives there have been no new charges in over a week. The investigation appears to be back at the beginning with no leads.
Okay, what I can do for you is give you...
But King and Martin are having trouble using their murder victims' out-of-state checks.
Let Let me get my manager for you, ma'am.
They need another source of cash. Their next victim, a 59-year-old woman traveling alone, Donna Martz.
What are you doing?
The terrified woman complies when they force her to take them to her car. The next day, the Pennsylvania detectives learn that someone passed several of Guy Goodman's checks in North Dakota.
The bank had cleared checks written in a number of locations in the Bismarck, North Dakota area.
This supports the detectives' theory.
They had used the credit card, now they were utilizing the checks stolen from Guy Goodman at the time of his homicide that further validated that they had to have been the persons who committed the homicide.
Detective Allender, please.
Zeckman phones authorities in Bismarck from the road.
I'm Sergeant Zeckman from Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. I made contact with a detective within the Bismarck Police Department. I told him of locations that I had had checks passed, and I gave him a rundown of the Guy Goodman homicide and who was involved and what evidence we had discovered up to this point. And there was a long pause from the detective. And I asked him what was wrong, and he said, well, we're investigating a missing persons from that same hotel where one of these Goodman checks were passed.
Donna Martz's family called police when she did not return home from Bismarck. They described Martz and her Chrysler New Yorker. Police comb Bismarck for any sign of Martz or her car, but find nothing. The detectives fear Martin and King have grabbed Donna Martz. The case has a new urgency. A woman's life is at stake. Police investigate the death of 74-year-old retired florist Guy Goodman, who was severely beaten, then murdered in his rural Pennsylvania home. Investigators determined that the victim's charge card and a book of checks were stolen. Fingerprints at the scene identify two likely perpetrators: 21-year-old Bradley Martin and his 27-year-old girlfriend, Carolyn King. Pennsylvania detectives Paul Zeckman and Michael Wayman follow the pair of fugitives to Bismarck, North Dakota, and learn authorities there are investigating the disappearance of a woman from the same hotel where one of Goodman's checks was passed. Donna Martz, a traveling tour guide for an interstate bus line, was last seen at the hotel where the suspects were staying. When Martz didn't arrive home as scheduled, her family reported her missing. Local authorities issue an APB on Martz's Chrysler New Yorker. The Bismarck FBI joins the case, led by Special Agent Craig Welkin.
The FBI and the North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation set up a task force which was joined by other agencies, including the Bismarck Police Department and the local Sheriff's Department.
When the Pennsylvania detectives arrive in Bismarck, they share the information on the fugitives that they gathered over the past week.
They became an integral part of the task force on this case. The linking of King and Martin was very critical in the investigation.
With potential suspects identified in the abduction of Donna Martz, the task force still struggles for viable leads. They continue to search the hotel.
We spoke with the clerks at the hotel in Bismarck where Donna Martz was last seen. And they were able to tell us that Bradley Martin and Carolyn King had stayed at the same hotel.
Hotel personnel also recall that around 9 a.m. on September 26th, King and Donna Martz were only a few feet apart.
They were able to confirm that Carolyn King had been in the lobby at the same time that Donna Martz was in the small dining area having her continental breakfast.
No one noticed Martz leaving the hotel with anyone, but investigators fear she's been kidnapped. Now they need to find out where the fugitives went next. Then, police discover Guy Goodman's car, abandoned, outside Bismarck. There is no sign of Donna Martz. And the search reveals only receipts from stores along the suspect's route and several unused checks bearing Goodman's name. Once again, the suspects have left authorities with no leads. FBI Special Agent Craig Welkin knows they must find Martz before her kidnappers decide to kill her.
Everybody in an investigation like this is extremely busy. Lots of information coming in, including information that really is extraneous, but you don't know that at the time. So there's a lot of sifting and sorting of information, a lot of trying to prioritize and make sure that your primary emphasis is in the right direction to recover the victim alive and well and apprehend the suspects.
Sleepless hours pass with no leads. Then, a break. Working with Donna Martz's bank, detectives learn her credit card was used in a shopping mall more than 100 miles away.
She had no relatives out there. There was just absolutely no reason for her to go that way.
The MO matches that of Goodman's killers.
Martz's credit card started showing charges on it a day or so after she had gone missing. We were fairly certain that she was not the one doing the charges.
The FBI dispatches teams to interview sales clerks at the mall. None of the clerks can positively identify Martin or King as the user of the card. But they are sure Martz did not make the purchases, which were for young men's clothing.
When you're working the case, you become very much aware that the clock is working against you, particularly when you have a situation like this where we know that Guy Goodman was murdered.
The next significant lead comes when Martz's account posts a withdrawal in Montana. It occurred days earlier at an ATM in the small town of Shelby. Montana FBI agents bring the ATM surveillance tape to the command post in Bismarck. Detectives Wayman and Zeckman positively identify Bradley Martin using Martz's credit card. It is the first definitive proof linking the suspects to Donna Martz. The tape confirms Martin and King traveled west, but there is still no sign of Martz. The evidence is building. Yet investigators' main concern is not prosecution, but finding Donna alive.
And although we had an ideal that they were heading in a general direction of west, they could change that direction at any time. So it was very frustrating because we felt that there was a short time frame in which, if Donna Martz was still alive, that we would be able to apprehend them and save her.
Special Agent Welkin knows they must speed up the process of tracking the victim's credit card usage.
I contacted Ben Patty, a retired FBI special agent who was employed by a major credit card company issuing Donna Martz's card.
At Visa's San Francisco headquarters, International Fraud Control Director Ben Patty agrees to help.
Normally, when a cardholder uses their credit card, that bank that issued the card will not see that transaction information for 2 to 3 days. That's when it's posted the bank would then know where the transaction occurred. Craig Welkin was really wanting to find out when the card that belonged to Donna Martz was used in real time, which we could not do with the systems as they were at that time.
To locate the suspects the instant they use the card, Visa must create a complex reporting system for a single credit card. But Donna Martz's life is on the line.
We contacted the systems people in the computer center and explained to them what we wanted. They said, okay, we'll go into our systems, make the necessary changes in the mainframe computer so that this specific cardholder number could be captured as it came through our systems.
The programmers estimate it will take at least 24 hours to create and implement the new program. FBI agents hope that the computer program will finally put them closer to the murder suspects and to Donna Martz before she too is killed. The coroner for Lebanon County, Pennsylvania, determined that retired florist Guy Goodman was savagely beaten and then slowly suffocated to death. His face was unrecognizable at the autopsy. The suspects, 21-year-old Bradley Martin and 27-year-old Carolyn King, have more than 20 felony convictions between them and are now fugitives on the run across the heartland of America. Authorities believe the couple is holding their latest victim, Donna Martz, captive and using her credit cards. The last charge was recorded in Montana. The FBI and police from across the country are in pursuit, tracking the suspects through the victim's credit card usage. Investigators remain one step behind. Led by Special Agent Craig Welkin.
That was due to the flow of the information from the merchants to the credit card company, and then when that information was actually available from the computer database.
In 1993, banking computers take days to post each transaction. Investigators await a new Visa program that will trap any activity on Martz's card. Pennsylvania detective Paul Zeckman chased the pair from the beginning of their flight.
It was very frustrating being days behind locating places that Martz's credit card had been used, because we knew that, number one, this couple had killed Guy Goodman. We knew that Donna Martz potentially was going to be the next victim. If she had not already been killed, there's nothing we could do more than what we were doing to try and locate them and stop this from happening.
Investigators try to estimate where the suspects will go next. They alert all law enforcement agencies on the suspects' possible routes. They post descriptions of the suspects in their vehicle in the National Crime Information Center's nationwide database.
We entered both Bradley Martin and Carolyn King in NCIC. They were also entered in as kidnapping suspects. In addition to that, regional messages had gone out to all the police departments to be on the lookout for Donna Martz, Carolyn King, or Bradley Martin.
If any police force in the country runs into the couple, the Bismarck Task Force will be notified. To further increase their chances, investigators fax descriptions of the suspects and the victim to police agencies along Martin and King's likely routes. But there are no incoming leads beyond the sporadic credit card purchases. Detectives Wayman and Zeckman returned to Pennsylvania to re-interview everyone who knows the fugitives. They hope Martin and King have made contact with someone back home.
We continually talked to individuals in the Palmieri area who were associates of Bradley Martin, trying to find out if there was recent contact with him or Carolyn King, and if there was, where were they at, where did they call from.
But no one offers new information. Despite every effort, investigators still have nothing. The FBI receives an update from the Visa Corporation in San Francisco.
This is Ben Patty, Visa International.
Visa fraud investigator and former special agent Ben Patty had asked the company's systems programmers for a way to trace Martz's credit card transactions as they are made.
TZ? And I told the FBI, and we set up a system of contact between our systems people in Virginia, myself, and in the FBI, and their command post. After the system was in place, the first transaction that came through was a service station gas transaction in Southern California.
It was in Los Angeles several hours earlier. Investigators are closer, but still too far behind. While the task force notifies authorities in the LA area, Visa gets another hit on Donna Martz's card.
The transaction came through our systems in real time. As soon as it came through the systems, we notified the FBI's command post, and it would have been within our 2-hour time that the transaction actually occurred.
Then a transaction is made at a hotel in National City outside San Diego. Agents at the command post contact the FBI's San Diego field office. And the lead goes to Supervisory Special Agent Sam Stanton.
We received information that the Donna Martz credit card had been used at the hotel in National City. So immediately I dispatched agents over to the hotel off of Interstate 5. Agents interviewed the manager and the security guard and employees at the hotel and was able to determine that a couple matching Martin and King had stayed at the hotel using Donna Martz's credit card.
But the couple checked out 2 hours earlier, paying for the room with the Visa. Police officers and FBI agents swarm the area, checking hotel parking lots, convenience stores, and gas stations for Donna Martz's Chrysler New Yorker or any sign of Martin and King. Special Agent Stanton knows finding the car is a long shot, especially when that car has a 2-hour lead on authorities.
Of course, San Diego's a very large city, and to try to find a vehicle in a city that size would be almost impossible. But we did put out an all-points bulletin and notified the state judicial police and the federal police in Mexico and the Border Patrol, thinking that maybe the individuals were headed toward Mexico.
The Tijuana border is the busiest in the world. In 1993, nearly 40,000 Americans cross into Mexico every day without having to show even an ID. If the fugitives make it past the border, it is unlikely they will ever be found.
All right. I know it's been a couple of days, but have you heard from Brad or Carolyn?
Well,
Then, the Pennsylvania detectives finally catch a break that narrows the search.
And what did he have to say?
According to Chief Michael Wayman,
San Diego.
We received information from an associate of Bradley Martin's, indicating that they had received a phone call from Bradley, and that Bradley was in San Diego, that he was with Carolyn King, and that they were headed back towards Pennsylvania. We took that information. We notified the San Diego office of the FBI, and they in turn notified the California Highway Patrol.
the fugitives made the call as they checked out of the hotel in San Diego. Martin and King still have a 2-hour lead, but authorities continue closing the gap. Soon a hunch and a bit of luck will bring the investigation to a violent and dangerous conclusion. Fall 1993. Authorities chase Bradley Martin and Carolyn King, suspected of murder in Pennsylvania and kidnapping in North Dakota. Investigators from both states are frustrated that for weeks they have been one step behind the suspects. They hope to find the pair before the abducted woman, Donna Martz, is killed. Then a new program created by the Visa Corporation at the FBI's request puts investigators only 2 hours behind the suspects. Investigators learn the two have just checked out of a San Diego area hotel. Based on their checkout time and the tip that the fugitives are heading east, FBI agents try to estimate their position. Special Agent Stanton has a hunch that the suspects will use Interstate 8, the southernmost highway going east. He determines that Martin and King will soon be approaching El Centro, California, near the Arizona border.
I called Agent Paul Vick in the El Centro office of the FBI and asked him to send out an all-points bulletin.
Stanton hopes he has picked the right route, as El Centro Special Agent Paul Vick takes it from there.
I called the California Highway Patrol dispatchers and asked them to broadcast the Martz's car description.
Wanted for murder that just left a hotel in San Diego, and we suspect they might be headed east on Interstate 8 and even stopped.
The all-points bulletin about 187 suspects, police code for murder, is transmitted to every officer on Interstate 8, including California Highway Patrolman Richard Chambers.
CHP unit El Centro continuing standby copy information on 187 suspects possibly en route to El Centro.
I went and checked my section of the freeway like I normally would in the beginning of my shift, and I went west on Interstate 8.
As Chambers drives, he receives the suspect's descriptions.
First suspect is a Bradley Martin, white male, 6 foot 160. Second subject is a Carolyn King, black female, wanted by the FBI.
Within minutes, Chambers believes he has spotted the car.
I was driving west on the freeway through the desert, and there's not that much traffic. I saw the car go by eastbound, and I believed it matched the description.
But Chambers cannot see the car's license plate.
I wasn't sure, so I made a U-turn through the center divider and overtook the vehicle and verified the license plate. And it was, in fact, bearing the North Dakota license plate that we had received. El Centro 160 and 84. I think I'm behind the 187 vehicle. Could you send me a backup car?
Suspect in the vehicle looks like the black female driving. 21.
Dispatch advises Officer Chambers that there is no backup immediately available.
888, 10-8, response. Stevenson 880, 10-8, responding.
Only one unmarked unit races to catch up to the suspects.
That's Sergeant Riley responding to the pursuit, joining pursuit.
Police know the suspects are desperate and probably armed.
2 suspects, a black female driving. We'll attempt to contact DPS.
10-4, and they know I'm behind them at 60 miles an hour coming up on 186.
10-4 at 60 miles per hour coming up on 186.
But so far, the suspects appear calm as they approach State Route 186.
Report, they're going to head us south on 186 where it looks. They're getting off 186.
10-4 southbound on 186.
Chambers' backup is still several miles behind, racing to catch up. On Route 186, the chase intensifies.
They're not stopping, they're starting to accelerate to
70. The suspects try to shake Officer Chambers, but he maintains pursuit, even as they escalate to 90 miles an hour.
El Centro, notify YPD and DPS.
Looks like we're going to be going Yuma and they go IA eastbound. Proceeding eastbound in Arizona.
The suspects cross into Arizona with Chambers on their heels. Although a California officer outside of his jurisdiction, Chambers continues his pursuit. He relays information to Arizona authorities. Then, the danger increases.
The male passenger did come out of the right front window with a handgun.
They're shooting. They are shooting. Sound like they're shooting.
Chambers stays on them, intent to capture the deadly suspects. As the cars speed toward the town of Yuma, Arizona, dozens of officers listening in race to cover Chambers. October 5th, 1993. California Highway Patrol Officer Richard Chambers engages in a high-speed chase with murder and kidnapping suspects Carolyn King and Bradley Martin. Near El Centro, California, the pursuit crosses into Arizona. Backup is responding. But as the suspects barrel toward the town of Yuma, Arizona, Officer Chambers is on his own and under fire. He knows he must capture the pair before they kill again. The suspects exit onto a smaller road, this one with intersections. Chambers radios their position.
They're going into Yuma now. Get my units out there, back them up.
They run through 2 stop signs without incident. Then, when they crash, the suspects flee on foot.
I got out of my car and drew my pistol and ordered them to stop, and I told them if they didn't stop, I'd shoot, and at that time the female did stop.
Then, Carolyn King orders Martin to stop.
Hey, get down! You call right there!
And I was able to handcuff the female. I just had one pair of handcuffs with me at the time, and I held the male passenger at gunpoint until Yuma PD arrived. It was probably only a minute or 2, but it seemed longer than that.
When the backup officer arrives, he helps take the suspects into custody.
Put your hands behind your back.
After a 2-week cross-country flight, pursued by police and the FBI, Carolyn King and Bradley Martin have finally been stopped. What investigators' first concern is the safety of the kidnapped woman, Donna Martz. She is not inside the car. On the floorboards lies the handgun Martin fired at Chambers. They open the trunk. Inside, police find duct tape, a knife, and Donna Martz's glasses. But nothing indicating where she is. Martin and King are taken to the Yuma Police Department, but they refuse to tell officers what happened to the kidnapped woman. FBI agents arrive and interrogate the suspects separately. Carolyn King is defiant from the start, refusing even to admit her real identity. She claims no knowledge of Donna Martz. Another agent is unsuccessful with Bradley Martin as well. When Special Agent Paul Vick reaches the station, he learns that Martin has refused to talk.
Bradley Martin was pacing back and forth with his hands handcuffed behind him. He appeared to be in some kind of discomfort.
Vick decides to try another approach.
Martin told me that his neck hurt and he had pain extending down into his right arm.
Hoping to win Martin over and get him to cooperate, Vic offers to recuff him in front so he will be more comfortable. His strategy works.
Martin told me that he would speak with me.
The agent reminds Martin he had earlier invoked his right to an attorney, but the suspect says he is now waiving that right. Vic drafts a statement to ensure Martin's waiver will hold up in court.
Once he agreed to that, he signed this piece of paper that I wrote out that he agreed to talk to me, even though he had invoked earlier. After he signed that document, I looked him straight in the eyes and I told him that I knew that he killed somebody in Pennsylvania, but that I wanted to know that Martz was okay. And then I told him, "Is she okay?" And Martin looked at me and he told me, "No, I killed her."
Martin says they kept Mrs. Martz for over a week. But after several close calls with police, he decided to get rid of her. They stopped in the Nevada desert. He got her out of the trunk and walked her to a ditch at gunpoint. He says she knew he was going to kill her. She said one thing before he fired: that she loved her children. The news devastates everyone who had hoped to save Donna.
At the conclusion of the interview with Martin, we obtained a map which showed approximately where Martz could be located in Nevada. And we then faxed the map to the Elko, Nevada FBI office, at which time, late at night, a search was initiated to look for Donna Martz's body.
But Martin was doing drugs during his fugitive trek. His memory is unclear and his map inaccurate. Several times during the night, search crews call in for more information. The desert area near Elko, Nevada is hundreds of square miles. The crews do their best searching through the night and into the morning. Then, on October 7th, investigators find the body of Donna Martz about 1.5 miles off Interstate 80.
In a case like the Guy Goodman, Donna Martz homicides, the drive is to keep anyone else from getting hurt. Secondly, it's solving the case, get them off the street and into jail, and then successfully prosecute them.
In Nevada, Martin and King plead guilty to the kidnapping and murder of Donna Martz and receive life sentences. In Pennsylvania, they are found guilty of the murder of Guy Goodman. Both Martin and King are sentenced to death.
This case is an excellent example which showed the interagency cooperation between the FBI and local, county, and state officials in California, Arizona, North Dakota, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and numerous other states. From working together, we were able to solve this case and apprehend King and Martin and get them convicted.
For Donna Martz's 11 grandchildren, 3 children, family, and friends, the convictions bring a sense of closure. Even today, they are comforted in knowing police and the FBI caught Martin and King before they could claim yet another victim. Decades before 9/11, the United States is attacked by terrorists. American businesses are bombed. Innocent people are slaughtered. Symbols of liberty become targets for destruction. The terrorists are mobile, well-organized, and deadly. As the violence escalates, their victims have but one hope: the FBI.
In the 1970s, cities across the United States became a battleground for vicious Croatian radicals. Their violent agenda targeted their own people living in America. I'm Jim Kallstrom, former head of the FBI's New York office. Agents all over the country work to unravel a complex web of extortions, bombings, and assassinations. At stake were the lives of innocent Croatian families trying to build a new life in America.
New York City, 1977. On the morning of June 14th, 3 men approached the Yugoslav diplomatic mission to the United Nations. Outside the mission, a New York City police officer stands guard. Inside, Yugoslav security agents protect the embassy. One of them asks the visitors for identification.
Upstairs, go, go!
Hearing the shot, police officers rush into the building. Foreign missions are technically outside the NYPD's jurisdiction. The officers are now in Yugoslav territory. As backup arrives, the officers inside the mission try to negotiate with the 3 men, but they have barricaded themselves in an upper office. The intruders warn they have taken a woman hostage. They will kill her if anyone tries to enter. One officer offers himself as a substitute hostage.
Take me for the hostage.
The gunmen refuse. Agents from the FBI's New York field office respond to the scene. According to federal law, the FBI is responsible for investigating all attacks on foreign missions. Special Agent Len Cross.
As I arrived, we had police officers in the park. We had police officers on surrounding buildings with scoped rifles. And then we had the emergency service units making entry into the building. What was going through my mind was, what was happening on the inside.
The suspects appear in an upstairs window, brandishing a Croatian flag. They toss propaganda leaflets into the street. The leaflets call on the United Nations to force communist Yugoslavia to grant Croatia its independence.
What they were trying to do was gain publicity for their cause and showing the oppressive regime that existed in Yugoslavia and how they were oppressing the Croatian people.
A hostage negotiator talks to the suspects for nearly 2 hours. They finally agree to come out, but only if they are taken into custody by U.S. authorities, not Yugoslav officials.
They were just trying to protect themselves from the officials because they knew if they got their hands on them, they'd kill them.
Easy.
And then finally, when they realized it was the New York City police and the FBI on the other side of the door and assured them that no harm would come to them, they surrendered without incident.
Move! Stay right there.
The suspects revealed that they never had a hostage. They were only bluffing to prevent Yugoslav security agents from mounting an armed assault. As the police officers escort the suspects out of the building, mission security confronts them.
Step aside, gentlemen. No, prisoners.
They tell the officers to hand over the radicals.
This is Yugoslavian mission. You have no right here. This is territory of Yugoslavia.
Put the guns down.
The NYPD officers refuse.
Step aside.
No.
Lower your
They
weapon.
intend to leave the mission with the prisoners.
We're taking our prisoners out. Lower the guns.
The security agents finally back down. The invasion of a foreign mission on U.S. soil is unprecedented. One of their employees has been seriously wounded. Special Agent Cross now leads the investigation. He searches for a possible motive for the attack. He starts by analyzing the long history of hatred and violence between Yugoslav Serbs and Croatians as they fought over the same Eastern European lands.
The reasons and motives stretched centuries, where Serbians would go into Croatian villages and kill every man, woman, and child, and the Croatians would reciprocate.
1971. The violence spread outside Yugoslavia. Croatian radicals assassinated the Yugoslav ambassador to Sweden. In 1972, they hijacked a Swedish airliner and forced the government to release 7 political prisoners from jail. Later that same year, Croatian terrorists claimed responsibility for planting a bomb on board a Yugoslav airliner. The blast killed 26 innocent people.
I mean, the hatred was so deep and it was hard to fathom. We were dealing also with trying to understand cultural and historical issues. And it was not your simple criminal matter. There was a lot of payback on both sides.
Now, that payback is spread from Europe to the United States. It's a terrifying trend. Cross contacts fellow FBI agents at U.S. embassies around the world. They confirm that there has been a disturbing increase in Croatian attacks on Yugoslav embassies and diplomats worldwide. Special Agent Cross works closely with police and prosecutors, providing background information on the men who attacked the Yugoslav mission. 4 months later, on October 13th, a New York jury finds all 3 men guilty of conspiring to take hostage Yugoslavia's ambassador to the United Nations. The jury also convicts the gunman who wounded the Yugoslav security agent of assault with a deadly weapon. For Agent Cross, the case is officially closed. But everything he has learned tells him that Croatian terrorism in the United States is on the rise and about to explode. 9 months later, in Chicago, Cross's fears become a grim reality. Croatian businessmen begin calling the FBI in a panic. They have each received an anonymous letter written in Serbo-Croatian. The letters demand a large sum of money and threatens horrific consequences if the recipient fails to pay up. Special Agent Bjarne Borison of the FBI's Chicago field office examines the letters.
Yesterday.
Borison speaks fluent Serbo-Croatian and has a background in counterintelligence.
They said, "You are not doing your part in our cause to overthrow the communist government. We've assessed your situation and decided that you are capable of paying this amount of money." And they would instruct them to send this money to an address in Paraguay, and if you fail to do that, you'll pay the consequences. It's absolute extortion. That's the way the FBI looked at it, was, yeah, this was an extortion attempt, and they were threatening your well-being if you didn't cooperate.
Agents are unsure whether the culprits are Serb spies or Croatian criminals. But they do know the extortionists have cast a wide net. Nationwide, the FBI collects a total of 52 extortion letters from Croatian businessmen. The letters are nearly identical, but with one key exception. The senders demand a different amount of money from each victim.
Most of the people who received those extortion letters were well off, or at least comfortable individuals, and had the ability to pay that money that was requested.
In New York City, Special Agent Len Cross heads the investigation into the extortion letters. Searching for leads, he contacts Pero Vučas, a prominent Croatian political writer living in Queens.
He was known to be against violence. And we felt that he might be an individual who could perhaps assist us in terms of identifying who may be responsible for these letters.
Agent Cross asks Vujas if he thinks the extortionists could be fellow Croatians.
He did not feel any good Croatian would have written these letters and made the demands that were made in these letters.
Instead, Vujas blames the Serb government of Yugoslavia.
He told me that it was his belief that these letters were generated by the Yugoslavian intelligence service to try to disrupt the Croatian community.
The majority were peaceful, and they wanted to overthrow the Yugoslav government, but by peaceful means. But there was always those who wanted to use more violent means and would do anything to achieve that goal.
Vujas believes the letters are an attempt by Serbian spies to sabotage Croatian demands for freedom.
I left him my card, told him if he could think of anything else, please just to give me a call, and we would appreciate it.
In Chicago, Agent Borison focuses on the letter's demand to send money to a post office box in the South American country of Paraguay.
The address in Paraguay was of key significance to us because somebody had to collect that money, so you had to zero in on who that might be.
The FBI sends an agent from the U.S. Embassy in Argentina to Paraguay to investigate. The agent observes a man receiving the money. He is later identified as a known Croatian terrorist who in 1972 had shot the Yugoslav ambassador to Sweden. A month later, in New York City, the case takes a dramatic turn. A man calls local news stations claiming 2 bombs have been planted in New York City. One at the United Nations, the other at Grand Central Station. In 1978, the FBI investigates a group of Croatian terrorists who use extortion to fund their cause. In New York, 2 local television stations receive a call from a man who claims 2 bombs have been planted in New York City. One is at the United Nations. Outside a library at the UN compound, a police officer finds a suspicious-looking bag. The officer immediately calls in the NYPD bomb squad. Investigators find a note nearby written in Serbo-Croatian. It demands Croatian independence and says, quote, "This is the beginning. Our decision is kamikaze." Bomb technicians carefully dismantled the device. It's armed with dynamite and a blasting cap. The timer is set to explode within the hour.
It was designed to go off, it's just that it malfunctioned.
At Grand Central Station, police find the second bomb stashed inside a locker. Again, the device is accompanied by a letter demanding Croatian independence. If either of the devices had detonated, the loss of life and property would have been disastrous.
The writing was on the wall. Things are becoming more and more violent, and they were happening more frequently.
The FBI believes it's only a matter of time before someone is killed.
Gentlemen, go ahead, have a seat, get comfortable. So, with the contact...
Agents from the New York field office combined forces.
We felt that it would be a good idea to bring all the case agents together on one squad under one supervisor where we could exchange and coordinate our activities.
Special Agent Cross also proposes the coordination of a nationwide effort.
If we did not, my prediction was that all hell was going to break loose.
2 weeks later, in a wealthy suburb of New York, a successful businessman is gunned down outside his own home. His only crime: he's a Croatian immigrant who refused to submit to extortion. The FBI's worst fears have been realized. An extortion target has been murdered, and agents have no viable leads. In Chicago, Special Agent Bjorn Borison becomes concerned that Croatian Americans in his area will also be targeted.
It wasn't an empty threat they made in that extortion letter. They meant it. And we didn't know who they'd come after, so we had to contact all those individuals who'd received those letters to warn them and advise them they could be a possible target, and at the same time try to identify who's responsible.
The FBI also alerts other law enforcement agencies to watch for anyone purchasing illegal weapons or bomb-making materials. A few days later, the Chicago field office receives a call from the Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. A known Croatian radical is trying to buy dynamite.
They had just got an individual in a sting operation who had purchased 2 cases of dynamite from them. This individual met with the ATF undercover agents thinking he was buying real dynamite, but they actually sold him dummy dynamite.
The buyer's name is Ivo Afinic. He is a high-ranking member of a Croatian independence group called Oatpur.
Obviously, they have plans to do a lot more bombings, and that's why they were buying this. The name of the organization is Hrvatski Narodni Oatpur, which means Croatian National Resistance. So the word Oatpur means resistance.
While the majority of Oatpur members are law-abiding citizens, the FBI suspects that there may be a criminal faction operating within the organization intent on extorting and murdering fellow Croatians.
All right, guys, we're going to pop this door. We're going to go in. We got some
Oatpur meets at a Croatian social club on the south side of Chicago. In a joint operation, FBI and ATF agents raid the club, searching for bomb-making materials. Investigators find the 2 cases of fake dynamite. But there are no live explosives anywhere in the club. A thorough search fails to turn up enough evidence to press charges against Ivo Afinic. That same day, in a nearby Chicago neighborhood, Daniel Nikolic opens up his shop. Nikolic is one of dozens of Croatian-American businessmen who have received an extortion letter. The cabinet maker refused to be bullied. Chicago police, the Chicago Fire Department, ATF agents, and the FBI investigate.
We did a search of the premises, and we determined that a bomb had been detonated on the roof of the cabinet shop.
Special Agent Borison interviews Daniel Nikolic.
There was no doubt who he thought was responsible, and that was the Oatpur leadership, as a result of his failure to pay the extortion letter that he received.
With Nikolic's help, the FBI talks to members of the Croatian community. Their top priority is to find a confidential informant inside Oatpur, familiar with the organization's violent activities.
Leaders in the Croatian Cultural Center.
The key to almost any investigation is you have to develop someone inside the organization who's willing to cooperate with you.
But the Chicago FBI has trouble finding anyone who will talk about Oatpur.
About the Serbian activity.
To get someone that was actually inside the group is very hard, because it wasn't that big a group who was actually responsible for the violence. It was a small group, and it's very difficult to find someone inside that small group who's going to cooperate with you.
While agents try to recruit an informant in Chicago, Pasadena, California becomes the group's next target. On the morning of November 22nd, a Croatian businessman steps outside his home and into the gun sights of an assassin. The victim had received an extortion letter 5 months earlier, but he refused to support the Oatpur cause. Local police and the FBI investigate, but they find little evidence. In San Francisco, home to a large Croatian-American population, agents mount an all-out effort to penetrate Oatpur before they kill again. The FBI assigns Special Agent Bob Gorth, who speaks fluent Serbo-Croatian, to the full-time task of recruiting a confidential informant.
The FBI was having a problem with penetrating the Croatian community for the same reason that you have trouble in any ethnic terrorist field. The criminal act is a result of their nationalism. Whether or not they're involved, they will stand together as a community against law enforcement.
With a background in Yugoslavian counterintelligence, Special Agent Gorth understands the bitter conflict between the Croatians and the Serbs.
Not as often as I...
Yugoslavia was an artificial country. It was born after World War I. The Croatians fundamentally were constantly fighting to get out from under what they considered Serb domination.
His understanding of the culture helps him enter San Francisco's Croatian community.
I was very un-bureau in a way. No suit and tie, no anything. A lot of times conversations were over a beer, over a bar table. We had to find a way to break down the wall and to convince someone on the inside who had information that what they were doing was morally wrong. It had to be a matter of conscience and a matter of actual conversion of thought.
From San Francisco to Chicago to New York, FBI agents compare notes, trying to find an insider who can give them any information on the mysterious, tight-knit terror group. The FBI's lead case agent in New York is Len Cross.
It was about 6 o'clock at night, and we were going over our leads and trying to get an idea, what do we need to do next? And I received a phone call.
Agent Cross, it's for you. He wouldn't say. It sounded urgent.
After 4 months of silence, Pero Vučas, the Croatian activist writer, is desperate to talk to Cross.
Croatian writer from Queens. You got a what?
He says, I need to talk to you, and I need to talk to you now. I got a threatening letter, and he says, I'm going to tell you everything. I know who's all responsible.
The call may be the break the FBI needs.
So I says, okay, I'm coming right over. I says, I'll meet you right at your house.
As soon as I can. All right, this evening, thank you. Okay, all right. Got a threatening letter?
Other agents from the New York field office accompany Cross to the meeting.
They says, no, you're not going, we're going to go with you, because, I mean, this could be a setup. They could be trying to get you.
Nationwide, FBI agents try to infiltrate a deadly terrorist organization that extorts and murders their fellow Croatian immigrants. Pero Vučas, a Croatian political writer, asks Special Agent Len Cross to come to his house. He's finally willing to talk.
He was very concerned, very scared, and he proceeded to show me this letter. It was essentially telling him that if he didn't shut up and didn't get his act together, that something very bad was going to happen to him. He realized at this point that these guys meant business and that he was in their crosshairs, and that his only alternative was to reach out to the FBI, put his trust in them, that they can get the job done.
The writer tells Agent Cross that he believes members of Oatpur are behind the letters and the violence.
And he says they're criminals, they're just a bunch of criminals that have infiltrated the Croatian organizations. At that point, he laid it out who all the King players were throughout the country. He couldn't tell us who wrote their letters, but what he did tell us is these are the guys that are running the whole operation.
According to Vučas, Oatpur's North American headquarters is in Chicago. Some of the key terrorists live in the Midwestern United States.
It was really good information and definitely kind of was starting to fill in the puzzle.
In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, agents contact a Croatian priest who the FBI learns is influential throughout the Midwestern Croatian community.
Sit down.
Father Bradish is an outspoken opponent of violence. Agents believe he may provide valuable leads. An FBI agent from the Milwaukee field office interviews him at the Catholic elementary school where he works. As they talk, Father Bradish opens his mail. One package contains a book. The agent spots a wire.
He observed batteries, wires, and explosives. The agent, being concerned for the location, that it was in an elementary school with young kids, grabbed the book and he ran outside.
The Milwaukee police sends a bomb technician to disable the device. Tragically, the blasting cap explodes, taking off part of the technician's hand. The FBI issues a warning to the 52 extortion victims that they've identified across the country. Beware of book-sized packages wrapped in brown paper. The next day, in Queens, New York, Pero Vuchas picks up his mail. Inside his post office box, he finds a note telling him that he has a package. The postal worker can't find it.
No, please. Would you look one more time? It has to be here.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
The package has been stored on a shelf near the counter.
Package right there.
It looks like a book.
I don't want it. I'll come back for it later.
Vuchas contacts Special Agent Len Cross.
I received a call telling me I've got a bomb. It's at the post office. Says, you want me to go get it? I says, no, leave it there. I says, we're gonna get the bomb squad. We'll take it from there.
At the FBI lab, a bomb expert studies the package. It is nearly identical to a device sent to Milwaukee.
This book bomb was very similar in construction. The cutout looked the same. The firing system was the same. It was the same type of dynamite, same type of blasting cap.
The postmarks on the packaging reveal that both bombs were mailed from Akron, Ohio, on the same day. Agents alert Ohio authorities of the likelihood that the bomb maker lives in their area. In Cleveland, police search the home of Pavel Chotoras. The Croatian radical is their chief suspect in the bombing of a Croatian bookstore 5 days earlier.
Spread it out a little bit.
Special Agent Bjarne Borison.
During the search, they found a book that was hollowed out and was obviously a book bomb.
The bomb is a prototype. Once again, there are no live explosives on the premises. Without further evidence, no arrest can be made. Investigators try to link the prototype to the book bombs mailed to Milwaukee and Queens.
Every bomb maker has his own unique style. And of course, one of the reasons for doing that is safety. You want to do it the same way every time, because if you've changed anything, it's very dangerous to wire a book bomb.
In the lab, Special Agent Denny Klein compares all three devices. Each book is hollowed out to the same depth. The glue and solder used to construct the devices each have the same chemical composition. Even minute tool marks on the bomb's wiring match.
The belief of the laboratory was that this was a prototype that was used to make the two earlier bombs.
There is no way to know how many more bombs have been constructed from the prototype. March 17th, 1980. New Yorkers and tourists pack Fifth Avenue to watch the city's annual St. Patrick's Day parade. 10:55 a.m. A bomb explodes at the 30th floor office of a Yugoslav bank. FBI agents respond, including Special Agent Ken Maxwell.
We were doing interviews of the employees of the bank, the employees of the neighboring offices, the maintenance people in the building, delivery people, anybody who would even come remotely close to 500 Fifth Avenue that day.
The only significant evidence agents find is another note in which Oatpur claims responsibility. The terrorists issue a chilling threat. The bomb attacks will continue until Croatia is free. On June 3rd, 1980, the terrorists target one of America's most cherished symbols of freedom, the Statue of Liberty. On June 3rd, 1980, Croatian terrorists target one of America's most cherished symbols of freedom, the Statue of Liberty. Special Agent Ken Maxwell helps investigate the bombing.
Someone had gotten into what they call the museum story room at the base of the statue that tells you the whole history of how the statue was built and all of the wonderful history in the pictures, and plus a souvenir shop. All of that had been blown to smithereens. A considerable amount of damage had been done throughout the base of the statue.
A number of violent groups claim responsibility for the bombing, including the Palestinian Liberation Organization, anti-Castro Cubans, and even neo-Nazis.
Multiple claims of credit back in the early 80s was not an unusual phenomenon.
Investigators painstakingly search for pieces of the bomb, expecting that the evidence will help them determine which group is responsible.
Hey guys, looks like I got a wire over here.
We spent all night there sifting through all of the rubble and debris and came up with quite a few components. The components of the improvised explosive device were strikingly similar to previous Croatian-related bombings.
What began as an attempt to extort dozens of Croatian Americans has escalated into a campaign of violence.
The Statue of Liberty was the greatest symbol of attraction for potential terrorists because of what it stood for. In their mind, the United States was not listening to their cause. So let's bring the cause to their attention and let's show them, the United States, that this is a real issue to us, and almost trying to extort the United States of America to help them achieve independence.
But the terrorists' logic is flawed. The attack only fuels authorities to intensify their investigation.
Bombing our Statue of Liberty, it's a slap in the face. So what we did, we started to focus our resources, our investigative attention on several individuals who we strongly suspected were involved in this kind of activity.
In New York, the FBI sets up intensive surveillance on several key terror suspects. In San Francisco, FBI Special Agent Bob Gorth continues his efforts to recruit an informant inside the terrorist ring.
I spent over a year doing nothing but contacting Croatians. It's very important to understand the people, to speak their language, to understand where they come from, even to a degree to empathize with them, so that you can talk to them in terms that they understand and appreciate. I interviewed over 300, I think, of all stripes and persuasions and types, trying to find the right source. I finally found a man who indicated he'd like to talk again. Hadn't told me anything, but he'd like to talk again. After talking to him, I don't know how many times, we began to build a rapport. And finally he said, I think I'll help.
Finding a source of information inside Oatpur is a major break for the FBI. After thoroughly debriefing the informant in San Francisco, the FBI sends him to New York to gather intelligence on the most recent Croatian bombings.
He originally had lived in New York, and he was well acquainted with the people.
The informant renews old friendships with Croatian radicals.
He would have been killed if members of Oatpur Command had found out that he was the man.
Despite the risk, he probes for details about their plans.
If you could obtain inside information on what's going on in a criminal enterprise, it means a tremendous amount in terms of achieving success in an investigation.
The informant learns that the group intends to assassinate an outspoken critic of Oatpur.
Take care of it.
The target is Pero Vučas, the prominent Croatian political writer.
They were going to kill him with a rifle as he was walking his daughter, his 6-year-old daughter, to school in the morning. If they missed, they could hit his 6-year-old daughter. They had no concern for her, and most of the agents and the detectives working this case, they all had kids. So, you know, they were thinking in terms of a father. How could they do such a thing like this?
According to the informant, the ruthless plot is already in motion. Special Agent Ken Maxwell watches as 2 suspected terrorists park a van near the target's home.
What was very unusual is that they get out of the front of the van and went in the back of the van. removed one of the rear windows and substituted one of the windows with a cardboard panel. And although we could not see totally inside the van, we did know they weren't having a bagel and coffee in the back of that van. They were looking to assassinate him.
In New York, agents believe Croatian assassins intend to shoot Pero Vučas as he walks his 6-year-old daughter to school. Vučas has been working with the FBI to identify the terrorists. Special Agent Len Cross warns Vučas to stay inside his apartment.
If they had made an attempt to get out of their car and proceed to his residence, then we saw what would appear to be a weapon. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. They were going to be taken down, period.
Fortunately, Vučas and his daughter remain hidden, forcing the snipers to abandon their deadly plot. The FBI decides to set up electronic surveillance on a man they believe to be the mastermind behind the East Coast bombings, the president of Oatpur, Stepan Sajic.
He was directing the operations here in New York, and naturally would be the place to put the wiretap, especially in view of the fact that the individuals came to him, and that's where they had their meetings.
Special Agent Bjarne Borison.
It's very difficult to go into a building and place a wire without leaving any trace that you were there. And the FBI is quite good at that.
What are they talking about?
Very nearby, we set up a listening post, and we'd have at least one translator there at all times.
Their job is to translate Croatian to English,
Pieces are the bomb makers.
as well as identify each voice on the tape. They must also decipher any code words used by the terrorists.
They won't come out and say words like dynamite. They may say things or pieces.
The drop-off, which is the device delivery, and the package is the bomb.
It took a while for us to get a grasp as to what are they talking about and get the significance of the phraseology they used.
The conspirators meet often, usually in the rec room in Sacic's basement. Jako Drevan, one of the men who tried to assassinate Pero Vučas, is Sacic's lieutenant. Translators work day and night, analyzing their conversations.
The wiretap would run 24 hours a day, and we had to constantly monitor the conversations because they're talking about bombing, assassinating people.
Agents are still trying to pin down specifics, places, dates, the identities of the co-conspirators.
It was all part of the puzzle that had all the pieces be pulled together in order to form enough evidence to start the prosecution.
Under federal racketeering laws, the FBI needs hard evidence of a conspiracy to take down the entire organization. Special Agent Ken Maxwell.
One particular night, their shaking of the pinball machine shook loose a wire that was used in the installation of the microphone.
Stop.
It looked like a plain wire. It didn't look like it had a head that a normal microphone would have. So if you saw it, you might even know what it is.
On the other end, the translators can hear the conspirators talking about the wire.
What they were saying was, what is that? And one of them realized rather quickly, because he had done all of the electrical work for the house, I didn't put that wire there.
They knew there was something there that didn't belong there. Now, the next question is, do they know what it is?
The conspirators begin following the wire.
And they traced that wire out of the basement to the power source out on the street and ripped the wire out.
For the FBI, the tap is critical.
to the great credit of our special operations folks, they reinstalled, and they reinstalled within 24 hours. I think the bad guys thought they had won in that instance, not realizing our persistence. And this time, we avoided the pinball machine.
Agents hear Stepan Sacic and Jako Dreven planning an upcoming operation.
They were talking about, let's get ready, I want you to do this, I want you to smash this. And we knew they were getting ready to bomb something.
Agents learn that Oatpur intends to bomb a Yugoslav dance studio, scheduled to host a gala attended by the Yugoslav ambassador to the United Nations. Special Agent Len Cross.
They were going to have over 300 people there. At this point, this really raised our concerns because now they're going after groups and not concerned about who gets hurt.
Agents tail Dreven. He drives to Bridgeport, Connecticut, where he visits the home of a man named Vuka Ulic.
When he went into the residence, he went in empty-handed. When he came out, he had a good-sized brown bag, and there seemed to be some bulky stuff inside the bag.
Agents follow Dreven back to New York City, where he picks up another Oatpur foot soldier. The men drive on toward their target.
And they circled a block in Manhattan and kept circling it and circling it.
Agents watch as Dreven cases the building. He leaves the suspicious bag behind in the van.
It was decided that if they removed the bag, then we were going to arrest them. Certainly we were not going to take the chance of a potential bombing in Midtown Manhattan.
As the suspect returns to the van, the agents watch his every move, ready to take the terrorists down. In New York, agents tail two suspected Croatian terrorists. An FBI surveillance operation has revealed that a radical faction of Oatpur is planning to place a bomb at a reception for 300 people. The terrorists case the building and then leave the area. Agents suspect that they have a bomb in their van. The FBI cannot risk a terror attack on hundreds of innocent people. Agents obtain search warrants to raid the homes of Stepan Sacic and Jako Dreven.
FBI! Up against the wall! Hold it! Hold it right there! Get up! Hold it right there! Hold it right there! Hold it right there! Come on! We have warrant for your arrest. What is this? I don't understand. Just hold it right there. Hold it.
In Dreven's home, Special Agent Ken Maxwell finds a familiar-looking bag in a closet.
When I looked into the shopping bag, I saw a woman's pocketbook that was open. And inside the pocketbook were sticks of dynamite wrapped up in tape, a timing device, an alarm clock, an electric blasting cap, and wire. It's not every day that you find a bomb at your feet.
Authorities take Dreven into custody. Across town, Special Agent Len Cross and his team search the home of Stepan Sacic, the president of Oatpur.
One of my team members was going through a pile of paint drop cloths, and he found the scoped rifle, and he found the ammunition.
Investigators suspect Sacic's co-conspirators used the rifle weeks earlier in a plot to murder political writer and FBI cooperator Pero Vučas. Agents arrest Sacic for conspiracy under RICO, the federal racketeering statute.
He was advised of his rights, and he refused. He wasn't being very cooperative.
No, I don't think so.
4 days later, FBI agents and police raid the Bridgeport, Connecticut home of Vuka Ulic.
Towards the window. What is all about? Face the window.
Ulic provided Dreven with the bomb earmarked for the dance studio.
We have a warrant to search the premises.
A bomb tech, as he moved some clothes, observed there on the floor in a bag considerable amount of dynamite, and sitting on top of the dynamite were electric blasting caps, live electric blasting caps.
Agents arrest Vuka Yulich.
Don't you worry about it. We'll take care of it from here. Special Agent Cross. You ever heard of him?
They call Special Agent Cross in New York to inform him they have found one of Oatpur's primary bomb makers.
Special Agent Cross.
Cross again questions Stepan Sacic, asking him if he knows a man by the name of Vuka Yulich.
You know a guy from Bridgeport?
He says, yeah, a little I do. I says, you got some problems. And we've just arrested him. And I says, he had a large quantity of explosives and caps and weapons in his house.
Sacic still refuses to talk.
There you are.
New York investigators call in Special Agent Bob Gorth from San Francisco to question Yulich. The former Oatpur member turned confidential informant accompanies him. Late in the afternoon, with the moral support of the Croatian cooperator, Yulich finally begins to open up.
He wanted the feeling that a fellow Croatian believed in him, trusted him, and he wouldn't be entirely alone. And when he finally got the courage up, he said, yeah, I want to talk about it. And of course, that was the linchpin of the whole case.
Vuka Yulich tells investigators how other Oatpur members convinced him to kill a Croatian community leader in California 2 years earlier.
After drinking all one evening and into the morning, he decided he'd strike a blow for Croatian freedom and go kill this enemy of the people. So he did. And later on, he realized that what he'd done was not advancing the Croatian cause, but really was harming it. He was one of the few people that I firmly believe regretted what he did.
Yulich agrees to testify against Sacic, Dreven, and the other Croatian terrorists.
When I killed.
This is the key testimony prosecutors need to take down the entire terrorist ring.
His cooperation in this case was instrumental in breaking the back of an organized crime organization wherein in 4 cities we literally took out the godfathers of 4 families.
The RICO statute, originally enacted to stop organized crime, is used for the first time to fight terrorism. Within 2 years, 11 members of the Oatpur organization are convicted and sentenced to up to 40 years in prison.
If you're going to achieve any kind of success in terrorism, you have to be able to bring to the playing field the right kind of players, the right kind of knowledge, and the right kind of resource if you even hope to put a dent into it.
The Rambo approach is not going to win over terrorists. Terrorists are motivated by the extreme sense of nationalism. And if you're going to deal with them, you've got to get into their hearts and minds. Otherwise, you may stop them on a particular incident, but you haven't changed their minds. If you don't change their minds, they'll do it again.
For the FBI and law enforcement nationwide, dismantling Oatpur was a vital achievement. Terrorists operating inside U.S. borders were stopped dead in their tracks.